Welcome back to our series on debt restructuring under Spanish law. In this episode, we're focusing on the Viability Plan, a fundamental element in the restructuring journey of companies, taking Celsa's case as a prime example. We're delving into this topic with a focused Q&A session to provide some clarity on the most asked questions, offering practical insight into this issue. So, let's get started and reveal how a well-executed viability plan is essential to achieving restructuring success. Let's start with the basics. What exactly is a viability plan? A viability plan is a financial document outlining the company's projected financial path. This includes a focus on expected income and expenses in the near future, providing a clear picture of the company's financial forecast. Designed to be court-friendly, this document should be presented in a clear and concise manner, free from overly technical language. It strictly adheres to key points vital for the court's decision-making process and is well organized with a logical structure, ensuring it guides the reader smoothly through its contents. Finally, like every expert report to be presented in court, it provides necessary evidence and justification for its assertions. Is the submission of a viability plan by applicants a legal obligation in the homologation process? While the law does not explicitly require it, the restructuring plan needs to demonstrate the debtor company's prospects of viability in the short and medium term. Therefore, including a viability plan in the submission of the restructuring plan is a logical step. How extensive in time should the coverage of the viability plan be? Ideally, the viability plan should encompass the short to medium term, typically a 3-year period, which is widely regarded as a comprehensive timeframe for a medium-term forecast. Is a single viability plan adequate for groups with an integrated business model? For business groups operating under a unified operational structure, the submission of one comprehensive viability plan can be sufficient. In such cases, this singular plan effectively encapsulates the strategic direction and financial outlook of the entire group. Therefore, by focusing on a unified viability plan, the court can assess the overall viability of the group as a whole, rather than dissecting the nuances of individual entities, leading to a more streamlined and efficient homologation process. What about considering other potential alternatives for viability in the restructuring process? When a restructuring plan is under court review, the viability plan presented takes center stage. The reason is that other possible alternatives have not been agreed and submitted for full court approval. The court's approach in the Celsa case is quite specific in this regard. It focuses exclusively on the viability plan submitted for approval and not on any other option that the applicants might consider as better. How can shareholders challenge the viability plan prepared by creditors? Shareholders aiming to challenge a creditor-prepared viability plan should focus on critically examining its underlying assumptions for reasonableness. In this judicial context, while the judge's role is to assess the overall viability of the company as presented in the plan, they are not expected to engage in an exhaustive, detailed review of every underlying assumption. Rather, the judge's focus will typically be on the broader picture, evaluating the plan's feasibility, its compliance with legal standards, and its potential to restore the company's financial health. The key emphasis lies in determining whether the plan in its entirety offers a coherent and convincing strategy for the company's future. In the Celsa case, the shareholders exhibited a paradoxical stance. While they asserted that the group was viable without undergoing restructuring, they simultaneously questioned the viability plan for not sufficiently safeguarding the group's future, despite its proposal for substantial debt reduction. How can external risks affect the viability plan? In the Celsa case, shareholders raised concerns about external risks potentially impacting the execution of the viability plan. They specifically cited risks like the implications of a change in control, such as suppliers breaking ties with the group. However, the court's judgment in this matter clarified that external risks are inherent in any restructuring process. It emphasized that unforeseen or hypothetical events, which are not immediately apparent, cannot be factored into the viability plan. This stance reflects a broader understanding that while external risks are inevitable, they should not unduly influence the assessment of a viability plan's feasibility. As we conclude today's episode on the Viability Plan in the context of Spanish law debt restructuring, we've explored its critical role, legal implications, and practical applications, from understanding its fundamental purpose to examining how it's assessed in court and challenged by shareholders. In our next episode, we'll tackle the challenging scenario when equity is out of the money in debt restructuring. Stay tuned to learn more on this critical discussion.